It was a bit rocky for West Indies in their tournament opener, but they've been rampant in game two. They bowled Uganda out for 39, the joint lowest total in the history of the Men's T20 World Cup. And with a huge win, they make it 2 wins out of two. We look back on that game, which happened in Providence, Guyana, on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Dish TV Watcho, where we have the pleasure of Ian Bishop's company, who called that Group C game. Bish, thank you so much. Pleasure having you with us as always. Akeal Hossain in that chase, doing something that no West Indian's ever done. The first fifer for a West Indian at the T20 World Cup, and he just seemed to make the Ugandan batters look clueless.
Akeal was very good. It was a pitch that had its fair share of challenges in terms of its low bounce. And if you've never faced Akeal Hossain before, I think it's along similar veins that you see with someone like an Imad Wasim for Pakistan with the new ball, that arm ball that swings back in. And then Akeal has the option of really imparting a lot of spin on the ball, even the new ball, and getting it to turn away from the right-handers. So I thought all in all tonight, his length was good and his line was complementary. And it was great for him because so far in 2024, he hadn't been having his best year. So it was a real morale booster for him.
Having seen the way the New Zealand batters struggled against spin at this venue against Afghanistan, you'd imagine Akeal Hossain plays a huge role in that next game where those two teams meet each other.
It will be an interesting game because you're talking about Tarouba in South Trinidad, which should be a surface that is all the more amenable to batsmanship. It's not what I would call one of the highest scoring surfaces in the Caribbean, but this pitch here in Guyana, I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed in the way that it's played, very slow, gripping, and hard to place shots on. So I think Trinidad should be better for batters, and someone like Akeal and the rest of the bowling groups on either side are going to have to lift their game just a little bit more.
Yeah, word on Uganda's batting, they've played their 3 games here and they found it difficult. 55 all out, now 39 all out. Even that win in the middle, they had to sweat in a target of 78. Lots of lessons for them to take in what is their first time at this stage.
Yes, I understand viewers have to understand the context. There are very few facilities. They've got Abhi Sharma, who worked with Rahul Dravid at under 19 levels for India, right? And just talking to him, he talks about the lack of facilities there. The finances of Uganda are only a fraction of some of the full member nations. And what we've seen with associate nations and with Uganda is they bowl competently. Some of them, even though tonight wasn't their best fielding effort, they've got some really good athletes in their team. However, as with many associate nations, the batting is that much more of a challenge, and we've seen that throughout their journey. But there is a lot to like about Uganda, and if they get more exposure, more financing, and more facilities, they too can go where, let's say, Afghanistan have gone, where Netherlands have gone. Remember this, Yash. Netherlands were bowled out for 39 in the 2014 World Cup. That's the joint lowest. That was the previous lowest. Now it's joint. And look at where Netherlands have transitioned to today.
Absolutely. Thank you for putting that in perspective. Now let's focus on the West Indian batting effort. They posted 173 for 5, which is the second highest total we've seen in the games played in Guyana. And Bish, you'd had your review of their chase against Papua New Guinea, which was far from smooth, and everything you observed then. Did you see enough corrections in this batting effort?
I saw a West Indies team that turned up to do their business tonight, which is the first compliment I'll pay them. They could have come in and be lackadaisical. That didn't happen. There was a lot more intent in the stroke play, positivity. And then Andre Russell's final kick towards the end of the innings is what we've seen from Andre Russell, particularly over the last 2 months of the IPL, right? That specialist role. There is still room for improvement, even though on a tricky pitch, there were still 53 dot balls, which was one less than the game against PNG. So when the boundary ball isn't there, there's still room to manipulate the ball into gaps and supplement your scoring. But they should find it slightly more friendly when they get onto better batting surfaces.
the effort to address that batting approach. Is that the reasoning behind opting to bat first, and was that a move you agreed with?
I had no problem with it for this reason. You sort of want to put as big a total on the board as possible and then limit what you know is one of the weaker batting teams in the tournament. So that's an option, although people are saying, well, put them in, bowl them out, and then chase the runs. What you get, though, is two bites of a cherry here. You put a score on the board, and you also get some of your guys like Andre Russell, Romario Shepherd, and those guys getting a hit, because you'll need as many guys in form as possible when you go to play New Zealand in the upcoming game in Trinidad. So two bites of the cherry there, which I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah, Robin Powell in the post-match saying that he felt West Indies were at 60% against Papua New Guinea, and they improved to about 70 to 80 in this one. Agree with that?
Yeah, because I still think there is room for your dot ball percentage. You need to score off more balls. Imagine when you go up against the better teams, the Afghanistan, a more informed New Zealand team, you will need all those resources. So I like that from Rothman. He's being very realistic, leaving room for his batters to improve. And they need to do that if they have to challenge for a Final Four spot and even beyond that. So I'm okay with the six hitting. What I want to see is more done with the deliveries in between the boundaries.
Yeah, it's a fairly good benchmark for the West Indian skipper to set, because if he's calling PNG 60%, which was 137 in 19 overs. So if I'm doing the math right, 100% takes West Indies to 220, which would be a fairly good total later on in this tournament.
Well, I want to see. I mean, I know Australia got 200 today, right? I'm not spoiled by what I saw in the IPL with the impact play and some of the pitches where 250 and 270 were being scored. I'm very realistic that once we saw the playoffs come about, for example, and there was something in the pitch, suddenly batters found it a challenge. What I want to see is the opposite in this tournament, in that the bowlers have had real fun in New York, in Dallas, in Barbados, and here in Ghana. What I want to see now is a mixture of pitches where you go to Trinidad and St. Lucia and we start seeing batters able to play through the line of the ball, 180s, 190s, 200, occasionally even, and challenge the bowlers a little bit more and provide some more boundary hitting entertainment. So it's a mix that I want to see. I don't want to see this World Cup pass, and it's all in favor of slow, low pitches.
We shall get a look at that. West Indies' next outing will be in Tarouba against New Zealand, a game that could have so much riding on it as far as this group is concerned. Thank you so much, Ian Bishop, for your company. This was Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout, powered by Dish TV. Watch out.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से।
Watch